That's right, Spurs fans. We got some size. We got some girth. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Last night, the San Antonio Spurs signed Mason Plumlee to a 10-day contract. Wish I could have done a video last night, but it is what it is. We're going to talk about it today, and the question is, was it the right move? I'll answer that in a few moments. Let's go ahead and break it down. No. The San Antonio Spurs are adding some depth to their front court. ESPN's Shams Chanera reported that the Spurs signed veteran center Mason Plumlee to a 10-day contract. The 35-year-old center will join the team after the Spurs opened up a roster spot by waiving Jeremy Sochan last week. Plumlee started the season with the Charlotte Hornets, but played in only 14 games, averaging 1.9 points and 2.9 rebounds. He is a journeyman. I believe the Spurs, it says right here, this will be his 8th team. Round, round, get around, I get around. A healthy Victor Wembanyama and Luke Kornet will likely leave Plumlee out of the rotation, but he's another break-in case of emergency option to go alongside Bismack Biyombo and Kelly Olynyk. All right, yeah, gives us some options. Wemby has missed 14 games this year. Luke Kornet has missed 10. So, yes, it's good to have options if one of those guys go down. Plumlee is best known for his passing and his IQ from the center position. I like that. Those are two letters I like to see with a basketball player coming to the Spurs. IQ. He's averaged 2.5 assists for his career, making quick reads off handoffs and in the short roll. He's a solid pick-and-roll player due to his strength and IQ. He's another big body on a cheap deal who can step in and play spot minutes if the Spurs are short-handed. San Antonio can sign him to a full deal once his 10-day contract is up. Let's get into his career stats. Mason Plumlee, as they said, is a 35-year-old center, 7 foot tall, 254 pounds. All right, we got some size out there. Bully this guy. Give it a shot. We'll talk about that in just a moment. 874 games in his career, averaged just under 22 minutes, 8 points, 6.5 boards, about a block. I know those stats don't jump out and you're like, wow, this is crazy good. But for 21 minutes a game, that is not too shabby. And his shooting splits for his career, 60, 4, and 58. So, good rebounder, good passer, and from what I gather, an average defender. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I know some of you guys are finding really good at finding the analytical breakdown of players' defensive ratings because I only have 15 minutes to make these at work. I don't have the time to research that much. I'm sorry, I just don't. But he's not going to stretch the 4. That I do know. 4% from 3 in his career. That's not a typo. He's made 2 of 51. 2 of 51. You think just a couple of those would accidentally bounce in, but nope, he is 2 of 51. I do remember seeing him play a few times throughout the channel's history, and he does, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm certainly not an expert on Mason Plumlee, did seem like the physical type of player. You know, kind of guy that might push people around a bit. To be honest, it's kind of the kind of guy we need right now. Somebody's not afraid to get physical with the other team. If somebody's getting physical with Wemby and getting rough with them out there, maybe this is a player we insert for just maybe even a minute or two. Give him a couple people's elbows and say, hey, not on my watch. So, was it the right move? I think you see where I'm going with this, Spurs fans. Sure. I like this as a rest of the season move. Will he play much? No, probably barely. But, again, it gives the Spurs options. Mason Plumlee or Kelly Olynyk based on the game situation or players' injury statuses. Now, we do have another big that I haven't mentioned yet. Bismack Biyombo. Actually, they did an early Pound on the Rock article. Let's be honest, he's a cheerleader at this point. Garbage time guy, but he does appear to be a good vet presence. So I do think he'll stay with the Spurs to the end of the season, end of the playoffs. Will he be here next year? Probably not. Will Mason Plumlee be here next year? Probably not. But hey, never say never, right? As far as one other thing I want to talk about that I was thinking, it's like with the release of Jeremy Sochan, who was 22 at the time, and bringing in Mason Plumlee, who's 35, our average team age must have gone way up. We're pretty low. And by low, I mean, as far as youngest teams in the leagues, weren't we like top 3 or top 5? And I got to think that's got to probably push us out of that top 3, top 5, as we know a few guys that are north of 30. Mason Plumlee, as we mentioned, Bismack Biyombo, Harrison Barnes, Kelly Olynyk. Aren't they all kind of in that 33 to 35 range? But that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. You have vets that have long NBA experience, which is a good thing for our young team. So I like this move. I'm curious how much he'll play, if at all. Now, granted, again, this is going to depend on the injury with Luke and injury status of Luke Kornet and Victor Wembanyama. Wemby, you can't really miss any more games, so stay healthy, my man. Maybe they'll also try him out. And we have I think 1 or 2 more back-to-backs. I'm sick of the back-to-backs of the Spurs. I swear the NBA hates us with all the back-to-backs. Maybe we'll see him in spot minutes here and there, and it's going to be more, I think, a fit and vibe, feeling, and all that type of stuff. Like when he gets out there and plays with our guys, does it work? Are we seeing chemistry? Is there going to be instant chemistry? And it's like, hey, the chemistry that Stephon Castle has with Luke Kornet, giving him the lobs, is he going to have kind of similar chemistry finding Plumlee in the paint? In the dunker spot, are we going to see that? Or is there going to be no chemistry whatsoever, which is going to make the Spurs step back and go, all right, we're not going to renew this 10-day contract because it isn't there. I'm very curious how it works out, because when I took a look at the buyout list and the people that are available, he is a name that I did talk about briefly. I was like, well, I guess we could use another big, and I can't remember the last time we've had this many bigs on the team, Spurs. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that's what I do. I like talking to you guys. I mean, you got Wemby, 7-footer, Luke Kornet, Mason Plumlee. Kelly Olynyk is right around 7 foot. I don't know if you're going to put, questionable whether you put Biyombo in the big list, because he is a small size center, undersized center, but he does have like a 7'5" wingspan or something crazy. So would you put him in the big list? But still, when's the last time we had this many 7 foot or near 7 foot guys? Definitely not in this channel's history. If anything, we've had way too many guards in this channel's history, where we had half the roster being listed as guards. So this is a nice change of pace. It's not going to affect any of the minutes of the primary guys, but I think this is for an end rest of the season type move. So I do think they're going to pick up his 10-day contract into a regular contract if, everything looks all right, everything's there's chemistry, etc. This is a good move. Now, one other thing I want to touch on that just popped in my head, correct me if I'm wrong, but with David Jones-Garcia out for the year, do we not still have an open two-way roster spot we could fill? Harris Ingram's taking up one. Is Stanley Omani taking up the other spot? I know Riley Minnick signed with somebody else. He's gone. So we do have, the Bouyer's gone too. We do have still an open two-way as far as I know. I don't think, I would assume David Jones-Garcia being out for the year opens up that spot, being on injured reserve. So the Spurs have that spot to fill. The roster's pretty much set, but, if we can get somebody in there on the cheap and it's a good prospect, why not? With this, I think this is a darn good move, and I'll give Brian Wright for this move, I don't know, A minus. I don't really know who's out there. Anybody? We'll finish with this. Drop a comment down below, your thoughts on this move. But was there anybody else that's a free agent right now that you say, you know what, TSR, we dropped the ball on this one. We should have signed him over Mason Plumlee? I'm very curious on your thoughts, because there's a lot of players out there. But I don't know. Let me know. That's all I got. I'm rambling a bit. Guys, I haven't done a video on the Spurs in a while. I think it's been almost a week. Well, I did the Wemby video, but there's been a little bit, not a lot of video type content lately, because we've been doing all the lives with All-Star Weekend. But we'll be back to Spurs content on the regular, especially with the Spurs back tomorrow night, because I'll be live for that one. Can't wait to see our guys back in action, well rested, and ready to kick some butt. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go.